And with that being said, I don't want to take up anybody's space, so I would like our guest to introduce herself. How are you today?
Hi, how are y'all today?
Good.
Yeah. My name is Mclendon. I'm a realtor, and I'm excited to be here with you guys today.
I'm excited to understand your grind, because this definitely is the Daily Grynd podcast. And let me ask you, how long have you been in the real estate game?
It will be 6 years September.
6 years. Strong 6 years, long 6 years. How would you define it?
It's been a strong 6 years. It's been a shocking 6 years.
Oh, yeah?
And I've accomplished a lot, and I guess that's not a lot of time, so it's been good.
Okay.
It's been a roller coaster.
Okay.
Yeah.
Was it like the Mega Zeph that we all know and love and remember? Or would it be something Six Flags?
I'd say something that's like at Six Flags. It wasn't what I was expecting. You know, you get on something and you think it's just gonna be a little something.
Okay.
But then it's like, woof.
Wow.
You know, that's kind of how it was for me, or how it still is.
Okay. Was there anything specific that rolled you into this profession? What were you doing before?
So before I worked in oil and gas. I was actually I had been working there for 9 years.
You know, that's the South industry, yes indeed.
I had like a corporate job. I was doing really good. And I wanted to sell my house, and I tell everybody, you know, I had gone through a divorce and wanted a new start.
Understood.
So I said, okay, well, I couldn't afford to pay the commission, at least I thought, for a realtor, so I went to school to get my license.
Okay.
So that I could sell it myself.
How was that? Let's answer that big question that everybody has. How is getting your real estate license?
So I think it's not as easy as people think. So
Good.
all the time, people are like, I want to become a realtor.
Yeah.
And they go to school, and it's a lot of information. It's a lot of law that you need to know.
Okay, really.
It's a lot of material.
Okay.
Jam packed into a few weeks, and then you have a state test that you have to take to become a real estate agent.
Well, we all know you passed on the first try, so I'm not going to ask that question.
Yeah.
Hey, good. Yeah.
Yeah, I did. But not everybody does.
Mm-hmm.
You know, a lot of people have to take it multiple times, which is okay. It
Right.
doesn't matter how many times you have to take it.
Sure doesn't.
But, it's not an easy test.
Right.
No.
That's good to hear.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's get straight into it. Let's talk about the real estate game. Everybody wants to get into real estate. That's it's a big thing. Let's start off simple. Family wants to get a house for the first time. What's the process? What do they have to go through?
So the process is basically, first you need to kind of look at your financial picture. You need to see what you have going on. I tell people this all the time. They call and say, well, I want to buy a house. So where's your credit? Where is do you have steady income? Have you been working on your job for 2 years? Where are you? Let's take a good look at that. From there, we need to get with the lender to see what you qualify for. Or if you got some credit challenges, which are okay, how do we work through those?
Well, let's talk about that. People with bad credit. There's a lot of people with bad credit.
Message.
Let's get some numbers. What's the lowest you can start off with your credit to be able to get a house or to start the process? And also, I'm going to cut you off. What's the difference between being approved and what's the other one?
Pre-qualified.
Pre-qualified. Yeah.
Yes. So actually, you can actually get approved for a loan now, believe it or not, with a 580 credit score.
Wow.
It's not easy though. So you can get approved, but you
That's
can't
that fresh out of college.
Yeah. But I mean, you can't have things in collections. So you're going to go through a stricter underwriting process. So ideally, you want to have at least a 620. But I would say never let the credit score scare you, because even if you add a 580, even a 560, whatever you add, you can improve that.
Okay.
Just through working through it, paying some things down, and just getting on a plan to get your credit score where it needs to be.
Okay. What are some programs can help people with that that they might not know about?
You mean for helping with the credit?
Yeah, with the credit, and also talk about the different loans you can get and how they can help you as well with the program.
So, like a lot of times, I'll just let them get with the lender, because sometimes if their credit score doesn't need a lot of work, that lender can kind of look at it and say, well, look, pay your credit card down to this level. But then if they have more challenges, then I'm going to recommend them to get with a credit service, somebody that can a credit repair service that can help them write letters. Kind of really work through that credit and maybe a year plan or whatever it takes, and kind of get them where they need to be to get a loan.
Okay. And back with the programs, what are some programs people can get that might help them with down payments, interest rates, things like that?
So right now they have They have state bond money where you can get a grant to help with your down payment or closing costs. That's available. Some of the lenders have in-house things that they can help you with. Your down payment. For like teachers have certain grants.
Wow.
Certain jobs, like if you are a doctor or work in the medical field, there's programs with 100% financing.
Wow.
If you move in certain areas, like St. Bernard Parish, the West Bank of Jefferson Parish, you can actually get 100% financing through USDA, which is a rural development loan. So there's all kinds of things. I think a lot of people just don't realize that. They think they need all this money to buy a house, and you really do not.
Let me ask that question. Yeah. So why do you think everyone's so intimidated about buying a house? Like, in your experience, what gets everybody with sweat across their face when it comes to, because everybody's heard it. I've heard it from my elders, my grandfather. You know, I'm still a renter right now, to be all completely honest. And that's because I was with a job that I moved every year my entire time having it. There was never a time I renewed a lease. I broke a few leases working with my previous job. Yeah. So every time it was brought to me, it was like, you know, I wasn't stationary enough to be the man of the house. But there are some others who are interested or more focused on being at home. You know, we're in a great place in the South right now. You know, there's no better place in the South, have to point that out. So, and we can't escape the fact that with it not being holistically necessary for you to go into an office anymore, hopefully that culture is something that we see change, if not disappear.
Yeah.
Why is it that people consistently, I would say, in my experience, are consistently a little intimidated about their first time buying a home?
I think it's a lot of different reasons. I think in our culture, maybe we weren't taught that.
Understood.
You know, I know for me, that wasn't something that was drilled in my head as a youngster. So I think a lot of us grew up not necessarily knowing that you should be a homeowner, that's the way to go. So it's an intimidation, it's a lack of knowledge sometimes. Right. And then sometimes we kind of look at our circumstances and we think it's too big.
Right.
So if I have some credit challenges, if I don't have a bunch of money, I think I need all these things in order to put that in place.
Right.
And so it's really just the knowledge.
Right.
You know, they don't have anybody telling them, this is what you can do. You don't need all that.
Right.
You know, you can, and even if you do, even if your credit's not where it needs to be, that's workable. Right. That's something you can get over. So I think we just don't know that for a lot of us. So just getting past that, and that's why I try, like on my different platforms, I try to give people knowledge that you can.
Right.
Because I think everybody should at some point in their life become an owner.
Definitely so.
You know, because it's something you pass on from generation to generation.
And I know for me and my generation of being in the corporate realm, I always had this idea that the company's going to take care of it. Or if I move up fast enough, there are programs where they'll help me move, they'll help me find houses. And to be quite honest, after 12 years with the same company, predominantly high dividend giving company, that wasn't a dream come true. You know, I was mid to executive level manager, you know, managing half of, you know, whole states, half states sometimes, and I didn't find that my lodging or my real personal life was really catered to. It was always, I was in the sales game, so it's always sell more, get more. But now that I've left that place and realized that, you know, there's a lot of opportunity that I missed out on by having a sales job that had me traveling to Mississippi and Texas and Atlanta every once in a while, and Dallas. I wasn't able to provide something that was consistent for my family, and I don't feel guilty about it, but I know right now it's my number one priority. How can I break that small unnecessary hesitation that I had about being a homeowner? And that's why I'm so excited about our show today, because there's so many different things and questions that people want to ask, and me being the only one in the room who's not a homeowner, I think we can really get some good dialogue.
Yeah, absolutely. And I also think, like, now the fact that you're not one yet, but you're trying to get yourself into the position to be one, it's like the perfect time, because the interest rates are lower than they've ever been.
Ever been?
Ever been. So, you know, I'm not trying to tell my age, but when I bought a house, you know, for the first time, my interest rate was like 7.5, and it was good at the time.
Right. Okay.
And I'm hearing about people getting interest rates, you know, almost 2.5 and that range. So that's like never heard of.
And interest rates, how does it affect so I think another thing that gets people intimidated, they hear the story of how Drake had his background on his laptop as this $1 million mansion, right? But the thing, when you go to Zillow, and I'm not in that $1 million mansion mode right now, but let me find a duplex, or let me find something for my family, and it's a 6-figure sum. And I think that six-figure sum, a lot of people believe that they have to come up with that entire bit of money or even half. How much of that is a myth?
You can literally get into a house and not put any down payment.
Wow.
So it just depends on what you qualify for.
Right.
I mean, even if you're like the doctor loan I was telling you about, you can actually get a house that's $500,000 and you're not putting a down payment.
Wow.
So there's ways to get around everything.
Right.
You just have to get with somebody that can put you in a place where you have the knowledge.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right. Legal things, right?
Legal things. I don't do illegal things.
I want to talk about that. Talk about some of the loopholes that aren't legal that people tell people about, and they come and tell you. Like a guy came and told me, like, man, I can do this and that, and I was like, man, I don't think that's you could do that. Talk about some of the things that, if you can, without
people don't bring a lot of illegal things to me, but I do know sometimes people, like FHA is a loan that has a lower down payment. But you can actually buy up to 4 units with that. You can even buy like a mixed use property.
That's how you start generational wealth. 4 units? Wow.
4 units. And you only looking at 3.5% of the sales price as your down payment.
Okay.
So, and you can buy like a mixed use. So you can buy something that has commercial and residential, which I just found that out like within the last 6 months or so. So you can do that, but some people may buy it and they don't actually live in it. So that's not necessarily the way to go.
Okay.
So they're trying to flip the house hack.
Yeah, they're trying to like get over,
Right.
but you're supposed to live in it for at least a year.
Right.
That comes about a lot. I hear that a lot. But as far as like illegal, other than kind of falsifying your, I've heard,
information.
Yeah, your information, kind of fudging some things. That's all I come across for the most part.
Okay.
But I'm sure there's stuff out there. I just stay away from that.
So in my experience, I'm 33 years old. I've spent a lot of time in the corporate realm. Like I said, I was living on someone else's dream. Now I'm on my own. I'm in a position now where I'm looking for a duplex. I could find a house, but I need to build some equity.
Right.
Equity being the value that I've put inside of a property, right? I want to make sure everybody gets some good definitions, so they got it. This is one of those episodes you get your paper and pen out. We don't want to lose anybody. So I want to build some equity. So I'm that person who's looking for a duplex anywhere in, let's say, our general 504 area. How easy is it to find? And that's a strategy. Everyone, I think what people miss out on in the adult life, as in your life beyond your parents and, help, is that you have to have a strategy on when you start and when you end. When you get in on a stock and when you are willing to jump out and sell that stock. And even when getting into real estate, that will be my strategy, the house hack strategy. My family on one side, I get somebody who's cool on the other side, knock that out for a year, build my equity, go flip it.
Go to the next one, yeah.
Right. So I guess my question to you is, are there a lot of people who are playing my strategy, and what other strategies do you know of or suggest?
So I would say a lot of young people are. So what I'm saying is like older people didn't necessarily know that strategy.
Right.
So their goal was to buy a house, you stay in that house 30 years, pay it off.
Right.
My parents' generation, that was the goal. They bought a house, that was it.
Are you from here? I didn't ask that question.
I am. I'm from New Orleans.
Okay, what high school you went to?
I went to Edna Carr.
All right.
High school, second to none.
All right. Come on, Cole.
But now what I'm saying is like people, in their 30s or 20s or whatever, they're wanting to buy. Everybody wants to buy a duplex,
right?
Because they realize now we got the knowledge,
yeah.
right? So the younger generation has people telling them. We got all of the podcasts. We have all the Instagrams telling you this is the way to wealth.
Right.
So now everybody wants to double.
Is that keeping you busy?
It's keeping me very busy. It makes me proud. Like I wish I could go back to me. When I first bought something, I wish I would have done that.
Right.
That's the way. You know. And it's smart. It's like it's just a temporary situation. You're young.
Mm-hmm.
Even if you have a couple kids or whatever. Hey, work it out for a year or two.
Yeah.
Move on to the next.
Yeah.
Right. Talk about that as far as back in the day. New Orleans is traditional for double shotgun houses. Back in the day, I don't know if you know or not, but like you said, our elders, our parents, they didn't use properties like we use them now to live on one side and rent the other side. I'm just curious, since you've been doing real estate, what do you think, besides the knowledge, what made people change, us as blacks change to think about, well, let's let me start buying a house. I can rent this side out. What made that become a trend, you think?
I think it's social media.
Social media?
I think YouTube, social media, all that has a big part of it. Because, I mean, I follow lots of people. I'm sure y'all do too. That's all they're talking about. They're talking about how do you get into investment property without a lot of money? How do you wholesale? I mean, I'm hearing so much. I listen to it regularly.
Okay.
And so it's not just me. I mean, these people have millions of followers, and so you know, the young generation, they have access to this. Older people, they're not really on that. So we're getting it. We're understanding it. Our mind is open to it, and we're just moving with it.
Let's talk about you're a realtor in New Orleans, and you work for
NOLA Home Realty.
NOLA Home Realty. How long you been with them?
Since July last year.
July last year.
What's so special about that business?
So I actually am co-owner of that.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
That's what I wanted to hear.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Yeah. I'm associate broker over there. We are new.
All right.
We have in a year have really like it's mind blowing to me. Like every day we're like, I can't believe this, you know, because it was so scary in the beginning, and now it's like it's become.
What was scary about it?
Just jumping out. I mean, I have been with a company that I've been with since I pretty much started, and I felt like that was my foundation, and I still feel that way, and it kind of gave me the tools that for me to be successful.
Well, shout out to them.
Shout out, big shout out. I mean, I owe a lot to it, and then you jump into something else that you don't know, so it's like. You know, it's always scary. When you go into the next level, it's always scary. Yeah. You know, and you're like, am I making the right decision? You know, it's what are other people going to think?
Right.
What is this going to work? And
you're responsible for some folks, aren't you?
I'm responsible. You know, we have agents that work with us. So, So are we supporting them? Right. Are they happy where they're at? So all these questions run through our head on a
Let's not talk about our personal lives and the people who depend upon us that way. So I think we should take a second to say bravo to you for your grind to be able to take action, because on our previous episode, you know, we discussed someone who was just very, very courageous, and I think we've highlighted some very courageous people, and I'm glad that you're a part of that alumni and a part of that, you know, our alumni of people who've come through and be able to speak on that. Because for me, you know, leaving the corporate realm, and then for the first couple months I was just paralyzed. There was so much information. I'm on YouTube, it's EYL University, and I'm looking at, you know, the Wall Street Trapper and all these different people who are my age, look like us, talk like us, and they're just so in depth with the knowledge. But the knowledge can't take you as far as your courage, and that's why I wanted to make sure we highlighted that.
I love that word too. Courage, that's like a word I use a lot, because it doesn't mean that you're not fearful.
Right.
It means, because there's been times where I'm literally like, my legs shaking. It doesn't mean you're not fearful. It just means that no matter how scared you are, you still push through.
Yes, indeed.
So I think like courage is necessary if you're going to be an entrepreneur, if you're going to be successful, if you're going to be a successful parent, whatever it is, because all that takes courage.
Yes, indeed.
Buying a house takes courage.
Yes,
you know, I just talked to a young man, real young, 21 years old, buying a house, and he's scared out of his mind. He called me. Yeah. I had to walk him off the ledge. I'm like, dude, you know, you got to do this. It's okay. You're going to be okay. So, courage is real big.
Right.
I wonder what makes them so scared, because you go from renting to owning. You're paying a certain amount of money for renting, and you can do the same thing if you're owning.
It's just the unknown. I mean, when I bought the house I live in now, I was scared. I was like, what if I can't afford this? Or, you know, I went from the house I was living in to another house, and I was going to make that first house a rental property. I'm like, you know, what if I don't get a tenant? You know, what if I fall? What if I don't have the money to pay? You know, what I need to pay. So it's just.
And there's that extra step after courage, which is faith. How would you say, you know, was it faith, that kind of faith within yourself, or faith in God, the universe? What was your faith in that gave you that extra to ignore the normal parts of it? Because, you know, what Kobe Bryant used to say is the fear, the anger, all of those different emotions are necessary. You acknowledge them, and you do what you will with them, and discard the rest.
Right.
So what was that little bit for you? Was there a special someone in your ear, little someone's around you? Was there a peer or somebody who gave you that extra push, or were you self-motivated?
So I thank God, of course. I mean,
hello, somebody.
That's like foundation, right?
Yes,
and I think that a lot of successful entrepreneurs and just people in general, they have a strong faith.
Yes.
Whether that be God, whatever it is, they have to have something outside of yourself. Because sometimes you need that. You know, you can't just always depend on you. And then betting on myself. Like, I feel like no matter what, I'm never going to quit. I'm never going to fail. Even if I fall, if this don't work, I'm going to move on to the next thing. But I promise you, I'm not going to sit there.
Right.
So I think just being successful, you have to bet on yourself.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I think, that was probably some of my biggest things that was missing from my makeup. When I left my job, I had a clear strategy that what I wanted. I had the courage to leave, but courage only took me that far. I think my faith had to be restored, and I took some time really just establishing and almost retraining my mind to have more faith in myself. I was a person who suffered from a lot of, Jim Quick calls it ants, which are automatic negative thoughts. Because of my upbringing was very critical. You know what I'm saying? I grew up old school. So I had a mission to go to LSU and come back with a diploma or don't come back. That's how I felt. It may not have been that way, but that's how I felt.
Right.
And so for me, it takes a lot more than just the average to do away with those thoughts once you've got them on replay inside of your mind. And so for me, I jumped into, Eric Thomas's podcast, and of course, mission to have my own one day, but also to really have good people inside of my head when I wasn't being good to myself. And I think that's what a lot of people suffer from, is those little bit of ants. But the thing about it is, you see ants when you're a little kid, you step on them. But stepping on them oftentimes multiplies the problem. But letting an ant do its own thing, that negative thought come in as it came and leave as it should, I think that's a strategy, even just for personal development, that I had to work on. And, I think there's a lot of our listeners who may be suffering from, what's wrong with me? What's wrong with me? Why can't I do this? And that those are ants. They're just crawling around in it. If you let them just replay, they'll take over your brain. And so understanding that faith is so important to the entrepreneurial experience. Even listening to reading Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich, he spends so much time talking about faith. And I just never knew that was a key to success. I'm glad that you shared that the way that you did.
Yeah, I mean, I could get into that all day long, but with faith, like Napoleon Hill, all those people, I think also affirmations. Like, that's big for me.
Have you read The Greatest Salesman in the World by OG?
I know what you're talking about, but I haven't read it. But
150 pages. I suggest that before the Bible.
a little
it's
book.
It's a little coffee table book.
I haven't really gotten into it, but that's a reminder that I need to read it. But,
go for it. I'm telling you, it makes some changes in there.
Yeah, that's confirmation. I need to read it. But affirmations are big. Like, who do you say you are? Right. Because like you said, I like that what you said about the ants.
Thank you.
But just saying, I mean, there's been times when I had to tell myself, I'm not a victim, I'm a victor.
Hello.
Just those little things,
right.
You have to remind yourself every day, this is who I am. And then you start kind of walking like that and talking like that.
Right.
So I like that.
Yes, it's good talking to you, because especially y'all just saying what y'all was saying, because I wake up days when I might be feeling down, but I wake up and I always say to myself, chase your dreams.
Yes, indeed.
I don't know why, but I just say it. You know what I'm saying? I'm always thinking about something. I'm always calling you, asking you about this or asking you about that. Just in the real estate field, tell me what are some of the struggles you've been through since you started doing real estate?
Good question.
And that's funny too.
Being a woman.
Being a woman, okay. Because a lot of people call and they're like, I want to be a realtor, because they think it's money and it's the glitz and the glam, but it's actually a lot of work. It's dealing with a lot of different personalities, so you have to be patient. You have to be resilient.
Oh yeah.
As F. So you gotta. If your deal is falling apart, I had like 2 deals that fall apart recently, and when my deals fall apart, I'm losing money. I'm potentially losing a client. Right. And that don't feel good. I mean, there's times when that makes me shed tears, but. You got to be resilient. You got to be willing to dust your feet off, pick yourself up, and keep moving. Because that's just like my business partner always says. That's just, if you look at it, how many deals you have in a year. There's a percentage. Not all of them are going to go through. So you got to kind of look at that as that's the nature of this business. But just
you gotta
also
feel your funnel.
Yep. You got to feel it, and you got to know, hey, that's a small percentage. Right. So I can't fight. I can't cry over there. I got to keep it moving.
How is it with realtors versus realtors?
So that's interesting too. There's some, I usually have a good experience. I've had terrible experiences. I've had, some realtors like to fight.
Oh, no.
Some realtors don't look at it as we're working together as a team to get to the closing table, so you're dealing with their personality too. Their nasty attitudes at times, them kind of fighting to make the deal difficult. But you just got to push through that. And a lot of things I've learned over time, and maybe that's because I'm a mother, I don't know. But over time I've learned to don't sweat everything. And
don't sweat the small stuff.
And pick my battles. That battle right there is stupid.
Is it hard to keep it just business and not get personal?
What you mean?
Like strictly business instead of, I'm pretty sure it gets personal with some relatives.
Oh, you mean like if they're there's been times when I lose my cool a little bit. I think I'm a pretty patient person, but there's been times I'm like, wait, hold up. You think you
call cougars.
You kind of get out of your character a little bit. I try not to be that way because I feel like that is really stooping down to somebody else's level. Right. And I want to always be right here. Even if you down here, I'm not going to stoop down to that level. So I try my best, and I'm actually embarrassed when I actually get down to that level because I want to have a higher standard.
It's probably because you care. You care about what you're doing.
Sometimes you're like, wait a minute, you're going too far. But I try not to be that way.
Right. Yeah. Some all about the dollar. So.
Would you say being a woman in real estate?
Yeah.
Does that pose any difficulty? Do you find that there's safety concerns? Because at one point, I was in Mississippi working, and my whole family was like, I needed you to be on the road halfway to Louisiana by the time the sun goes down. So, and I'm a man. I'm fairly, I got some height on me.
Yeah, you're wait a minute.
Right. But, I could even imagine if I had been a female in that exact same position, what my family would have said about safety or things like that. So I'm not saying it is a safety, but do you believe that there are any things that you've observed that as a female is just a little bit different in case versus someone being a male?
Yeah, I mean, I've never really experienced it where I'm in a house with somebody because I'm very cautious about who I show houses to.
I think that was the great thing about now because you don't have to really be in everyone's face as much.
No, I don't show houses to everybody. If I'm meeting, I very rarely meet somebody for the first time that I don't know. If I do, I'm not by myself. Right. And most people are referrals, so I know you through somebody for the most part. But there's been time, I would say the weirdest thing is really like social media.
Yeah.
So I've had people to write letters,
inboxes.
Yeah, call my phone and say weird things, So
because you're a public persona.
Yeah, that's the weirdest.
And I think that's also a part of being a real estate agent is you're always up front. Like you like Juan LaFonta. You know what I mean? Everybody knows that person. Everybody knows
every event.
Go auto insurance. Like you have a business where you're a co-owner, definitely a lady boss, as they like to say. Those comes with high esteem and also with a lot of attention. And what we don't want is for us to be in a position where, the attention is overlooked when people make the decision to be a real estate agent because they have to buy the personality before they buy the house oftentimes. Do you agree?
Absolutely. I mean, I think the reason why I've had a level of success is because of people feel like they can relate to me, whether they've seen an interview or whether they like what I see on social media. And I try to be authentic as possible.
I see that, definitely.
I think that is a big part of my success because I'm not always trying to be perfect. I'm not always perfect. I try to just show who I am, and I don't think I need to work with everybody. I want to work with people who want to work with me.
Yeah, that's what Warren Buffett says. It's like the greatest thing about being wealthy, I can pick and choose who I decide to work with in businesses, organizations, etc. Whatever.
I only want to work with who gets me. I mean, I'm not for everybody. I'm not.
I used to tell people that all the time. I am not highly palatable. I get an entire when I had my last sales team. I said I'm gonna put this out there because I'm pretty sure some of y'all got it on his mind. I'm not very palatable. That means the first time you put me in, I may not give you what you need, but I'm pretty sure you're gonna savor the flavor by the end of it, like a everlasting gobstopper. I'm gonna get you there once I'm in. Just give me a minute. I'm gonna get you there.
Yep, I'm not a bulldog. I'm not. So if that's what you're looking for, I'm not the person for you, but I will fight hard for you. I will negotiate for you. Am I going to be in people's face fussing and cussing? No, that's not me. If that's what you're
And people look for that.
People look for it. I've had people say I'm not aggressive enough. My personality is pretty calm and laid back, but I will give you 100%.
Right.
So, you know, it's not for everybody, and I'm good with that. I used to get offended by that, but now I'm like, well, no, you know, I'm not the right person for you.
Well, I'm glad I came to that conclusion for myself, to just to be okay with not being okay for everyone.
Yeah. I mean, hey, there's so many people on the earth, right?
Right.
You're not going to be for everybody, and that's okay.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
So for somebody listening to this interview, what are some hot markets, or what are some areas that people can, there's some good spots to find houses now that people are looking, if you're looking for a house right now?
I guess in South Louisiana to start. I don't know, do you range outside of your Louisiana state at all?
No, I don't.
Okay.
I don't. I would say if you're looking for like new construction, I'm seeing that St. Bernard Parish is pretty hot right now because it's still affordable. You can get something below, brand new, below $300,000. So I'm seeing a lot of people wanting to look out that way that never would have looked out that way. Some of the kind of up and coming areas, Gentilly, of course.
All right.
You know that area. It's, you know, the prices are going up a little bit. I have some stuff under contract in Gonzales, Perryville. So
that's a hot area.
Oh yeah,
beautiful area.
Yeah.
Some people that are willing to drive.
Right,
it's beautiful.
Right.
Out there in Alabama, there's starting, it may not be a trend, but I don't see it very often out here, where they'll build a subdivision, and then after the subdivision, they'll find themselves building around it with a local market, nail salon, tax place, you know, a Starbucks. Right. I know in Gonzales there is that exact same thing. Do you see that being a trend from a developer standpoint, that we need to give everything all inclusive of the subdivisions?
I think so. You're seeing a lot of new construction subdivisions in the New Orleans and surrounding areas. When I was growing up, I didn't see a lot of that.
No. Only in Chateau. I'm from Kenton.
Oh, you're from Kenton.
Yeah.
So, you're starting to see, and you're seeing the Starbucks, like you said, the shopping centers and the build up around it. I like it.
Yeah.
I really do. It's giving people a sense of pride. You get something brand new.
Right.
That's really nice.
So I gotta address the elephant in the room. I have another real estate agent friend had a answer to this question I'm about to ask you. How is business during COVID-19?
I am the busiest I've ever been.
That's what they said. Yeah.
I am literally trying to keep my head on my shoulders.
Exciting times.
It's exciting times. I remember when COVID first hit and we needed to be quarantined. I was like, oh my God, what's going to happen with my business? And then, we were home for a while, and then it was like, boom. You know, like all of a sudden it just like blew up.
Everybody buck wild.
It's like everybody is buying that can buy. I'm trying to buy something myself. It's like I'm trying to take advantage of
everybody on the hunt.
Everybody. And I think it's beautiful.
Yes, indeed.
Don't steal my property.
No, I won't. I'm not looking at the same stuff. You're good.
So I mentioned strategies earlier. So another strategy that is very popular, and I'm assuming it's with my age, because we've talked about how my generation, like the early 30 somethings, are really taking this time to be educated. You know, when I was spending so much time worrying about what I was going to do, another part of it was seeing how many people were educating others and selling education for the highest price on the dollar, while also selling their programs. I think I uncovered someone from the area. She has a tax box program to where she has an idea on how to make you someone who can initiate your own tax business, and all the information is in a box. And I think, we have people up north in like Philadelphia, they have a tax business, Jumpin' Jack Tax. I used them myself, and it was a great experience just to put that out there. And we're just seeing so many people understand that through education, that we're going to be either to make money or ensure that we all cross to the other side of generational wealth, because we're breaking that curse within the next 2 to 3 years. Well, at least the next 2 to 3 generations. Yeah. But I do want to ask about the BRRRR strategy. That's BRRRR: buy, rehab, rent, refi, and repeat. Have you seen a lot of that strategy?
Oh yeah. So, people buying, they fix it up, they're living in for 2-3 years, and they flip it. I think that's an awesome strategy. I think I'm seeing so many people just come up with different little things, whether it be they buy multifamilies or they do something like that. I think however you could get in the game, however you make it work, do it.
Right.
Do it. But just have your game plan together. So if it's 2 to 3 years, you move and you keep it moving, do it.
And do you see people with the tight, well-planned strategies do well in the... I know you for a fact you have your own business. For those who are private sellers, more or less, do you find people are able to stick to their guns? Because a lot of things that I've researched about the BRRRR strategy is it's one piece away from falling apart. As in, I've seen and did some research on the BRRRR. This one gentleman, he got 10 properties in 1 year utilizing the BRRRR strategy. And taking the time out, he was like, I just really knew what I was doing. It was a hot market. I took advantage. And he's retired. While there's certain people who make it to property 3 and then fall, and because maybe they didn't get a refinance the way they thought it would, or it didn't rent, or there's something happened to the market. You know, do you think people who have well-planned strategies and timing is a big deal? I know timing for real estate is perfect right now. But, you know, let's just say someone listens to this a year from now, would you say the people who are the most focused on their strategy are usually the ones who come out on the other side alive?
I think so, and people that educate themselves on the trends and what's going on. Like a few months ago, I had somebody to call me that was doing flips, and he said, I'm going to wait for a little while because of what was going on with the market at the time. Right. But now he's back at it. So I think just kind of watching, you have to be aware of what's going on in the world too, because that affects the real estate market. And
that's where I think I was kind of messed up. You know, my father actually works for WWL. He's a camera person, and so much exposure to that is like, turn the news off. I don't want to hear it. Yeah, but now, as a fully awake, unplugged from the matrix adult, I realize those things are some of the framework for some of the things that you're being affected by. You have to be a conscious citizen, just like you have to vote. And for every person who's a listener, please take the time out to vote. Please, your opinion, your voice, your family is like, if you're your ancestors' wildest dreams, you know you're the descendant of someone who couldn't, and it's your time, it's your space to know that you matter. I don't care if you're got a fresh voting card or you don't remember the last time you did vote. We need your voice to matter.
Yes.
We're not talking about just for the president candidacy.
Right.
About everything.
The little ones, the mayors and the sheriffs and the Congress people, those are more important than the president, to be honest.
And I used to not know that, but this last time, I mean, I for the past few years, I made sure I voted, but I went with my daughter, and that was important to me. Because your voice matters. And like you said, your ancestors.
Did she vote for this last election or the one before?
The last election.
Okay.
Yeah, so I mean, we need to vote. It's important.
I think we should take more time to celebrate those things with our children. You know, make it a bigger deal. Like, we can't make a big deal for being able to, at one point, smoke cigarettes at 18 and give somebody something sweet for 18 and 21st birthday parties, and we don't go to their first voting experience. I find that to be in line with the first trip to kindergarten or the first trip to school as a whole. Like, you want to, at least for me and my little ones, I want to make sure that they have guided presence throughout. So when my presence isn't there, it'll still be able to give guidance. Because that's what my mother, you know, I lost my mother 2 years ago. So her guidance is constantly with me. And that's the way that I'm able to be so poised about things, is because I have heavenly advice. You know what I mean? And so I just genuinely believe that in order for people to see real estate and all of the strategies, whichever one you pick, it has to come with courage, faith, and most importantly, knowledge. So I believe a good question I think I have that popped into my brain: how do you get knowledge? You know, you're an experienced, you took the test, you have an excess of, you know, posts, you're very knowledgeable. Where does your knowledge come from to stay up to date? I know for a fact you just mentioned the news and the newspaper. How do you stay current in your market as far as real estate?
So I'm a little bit different because I'm very involved in leadership.
Okay.
So I'm state president-elect of Women's Council of Realtors. So I've got that.
Women Councils of Realtors.
Yeah,
congratulations.
I've got that.
That sounds great.
Yeah, and we get a lot of knowledge on what's going on in the market, not just locally but nationally. So I have that. And I surround myself with people who are doing better than me and who have
That's
more.
That's definitely a key ingredient.
My business partner has been in the business for 25 plus years, so I go to her because she's been a broker longer than me, and she's on the local board of realtors. She's on the board. Wow. So before everybody else gets what the new changes are, I get it from her. Wow. So I try to surround myself with people who have more.
Was that your strategy, to be strategically placed with somebody so great?
That actually wasn't my strategy.
Just a blessing?
I just think that God has always ordered my steps. So I think about this all the time, because sometimes I'll kind of fall into a blessing. Like I fell into real estate, and I didn't intend to be. But I think He's been doing that all my life when I look back on it. Not to get into that, but all my life.
Are you familiar with the law of least effort?
No.
It's when a person is truly tapped into their potential and their passions, they notice that they work twice as hard before being tapped in in comparison to now. You hear people talk about how lucky they are, but genuinely you're tapped into your purpose. You found balance between your divine masculine and feminine. You have divine faith, and you're able to execute and be in the world where you were meant to be. And for that, that's where the law of least effort comes into play, and you start seeing more of the law of attraction do its work. The greatest gift my mother ever gave me was that book, The Secret, and understanding the law of attraction. But there was some things that were left out that you have to have the adult life experiences to go along with it. But there are those times where you find that those books may or may not be speaking to you, but if you just take some time out through meditation, I'm a very, very big person on meditating, even if it's sitting in your car before you walk in, complete silence, and you're just listening to your breath and you're hearing yourself. Like what I messed up, and I read the book, The Power of the Subconscious Mind, and around that time, something just told me that the reason a lot of my prayers weren't answered is because I didn't take the time out to hear God answer them. And so if I was the type of person just pray heavy, pray heavy, pray heavy, I was doing all the talking. And it's through meditation, and through meditation, I've always heard of yoga and stuff like that, but when like Nipsey Hussle started talking about meditation, you hear Kevin Love and his mental illness, and we start talking about meditation, I understood what was missing from my life was I wasn't giving the opportunity for God and the universe to speak back to me. And ever since I've been here, I am sitting with great people in a very, once in a lifetime, opportunity.
Right. And he'll continue to guide you.
Yes, indeed.
Right. Everything happens for a reason. Everything. All the struggles you've been through, it happens for a reason.
Yeah,
yes,
those 12 years were for a reason. You might not think about it, but it's for a reason.
That's your foundation.
Right,
Like I was in a corporate job for a long time, and I think that's why I'm so good at what I do, because I have that discipline.
Right.
Because that teaches you discipline.
Right.
And I was listening to somebody, like a podcast, and they were saying that they find that realtors that come from a corporate background actually do better because they have the discipline, they have everything you learn in the corporate world, and you take that into your business.
Okay.
So it's not a bad thing.
Okay.
It's actually an amazing thing.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Was there a inspired jump into real estate? I don't know if we've covered that. I know because what we have to highlight about you being in an oil and gas industry, we've had someone else on the show who had that same background, was currently working in oil and gas. I don't think we are really spending enough time really realizing how a job like that can carry anybody from South Louisiana for the rest, even South Texas, some of these other places, people who live in the Gulf, it can take them for the rest of their life into retirement. You see them, they work those long hours, and then it's a pretty cookie cutter type of lifestyle. What was that to leave such a lucrative industry in Louisiana to set out on your own?
It was scary. So I had it made in the shade. I had a job. I was getting a bonus. I was making a nice salary. I was in house at Shell. So I had it great. I was the only one that had the job, that position where I was. So I had job security. But it got to the point where what I was doing, real estate, because I really just started doing it because I realized I could make money. I was a single mother of 2 daughters, one in Catholic school, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
And so I thought it was extra money. And then I started to where my business was growing so fast that I put that as a priority over my job.
Yeah.
And so then I said, wait a minute, how much money do I need to live comfortably for a certain period of time?
Right.
And that's what I saved that amount of money. And then I still wasn't ready because I had my benefits. I had all this stuff going on. And I'm like, I have 2 daughters that depend on me. I depend on me totally. So how do I jump from a steady job, and go take some entrepreneur job? And I wasn't taught about being an entrepreneur. No. My parents are like, you get a job, you stay on that job.
My father's telling me that now.
Yeah.
My grandfather asked me that today.
I thought I was crazy. But like I told you, I bet on myself. And I bet on myself. I bet on my faith. And I knew that I had gone through so much in my personal life and I had gotten through that. So I knew that if I could get through that, I could get through anything.
Yes,
so even if I have to go back, I'm going to take the jump. If I have to go back, I'm going to go back crying and say, please hire me again. But I never went back.
Was it the oil and gas company? Were you already thinking about perhaps leaving, or did you comfortable with the job?
I was comfortable. I felt blessed to have that job.
Okay.
And it was a blessing. I'd gotten a job that was an engineering job, and I didn't have an engineering degree.
Wow.
So I got blessed with that, you know. So I'm like, how can I take that, put that on the back burner, and go into something else? But talking about my steps being in order,
Right.
it just got to that point where that was the only decision I could make, because at that point it was either or. Because I couldn't play the field anymore. I had to say, am I going to do this or do that? And finally, I just said, I'm gonna do this because I'm gonna take a chance. And it's not really the way I was raised. It is risky. It's got its ups and downs, but I don't care.
Right, but God led you that way, though.
God led me that way. Yeah.
Led you that way. Right.
Yeah, and it's become what it is now. And it's just the beginning, I feel.
Does it blow your mind thinking about that?
All the time. Like I sit back and I'm like, I can't believe it.
Right, because you got people right now in plants and engineering jobs, and you say, hey man, you can go do this and make this, and they'll be like, nah,
I'm good. Go take my nap, work my little 12.
Right.
I mean, I got people I used to work with that are like, girl, I can't believe you.
Right.
You know, they send me messages like, look at you.
Did anybody ask you her?
No, and then I'm so quiet, my nature, and even then I was, you know, I'm quiet by nature, very, and I was so even more quiet, and they're like, girl, I can't believe you. You're like doing on lives, because that's not my personality. But you know,
it's new for me too. I've always been a real shadow of the social media.
If you look at your page, you wouldn't know that.
Right.
I am like a backseat person. I'm quiet. I'm to myself, and I'm doing real estate. I'm doing sales. It's unbelievable to me.
Yeah.
Go ahead and plug in Michael with the trainings y'all have for people for.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Michael Sell. His page is, what is it at?
Michael
Sells. He's with Assurance Financial. Okay. Michael and I think I owe a lot of, you know, me with my marketing to Michael.
Love and light to him.
Yeah, we actually started doing a lot of home buyer seminars, which is where I met Chuck.
Okay.
And we have done a lot together. We talked to him today. He's very, very good at what he does, and he'll walk you through the process of. Are
y'all virtual now? I know y'all probably doing things in person before. Y'all virtual now?
Yeah, we do like lives.
Okay.
We do a lot of live videos. But his page is at Michael Allen Sale, and his last name is really Sale. He always says that. So Michael Sale. If y'all want to follow him, Michael Allen Sale. Awesome guy, awesome personality, very humble, and very good at what he does. Yeah.
Awesome. I have another question. So, social media and entrepreneurship. I see a lot of businesses, of course, during these times, everybody understands one source of income will not get it done. Let me reiterate, one source of income will not get it done. It will not. You make sure you hit it twice, because they got a lot of people right back in that trailer park or manufactured home park right after the money went low. So, speak on your social media presence. I myself am a very quiet by nature. I'm an introvert person. I'm an only child. Looking at your social media, like I just have one in my hand because I was waiting to ask you, like, to be so transparent. And it may be just something that's funny for your post that you had not too long ago that says, what does an agent do all day anyway? You know, another one of my favorites are, where's the other one? The biggest home seller mistakes. So you're also you're really in that influencer position despite being somebody who's so kind of quiet and kept. How has that change of hats or change of almost personality been for you? And how important is it to your business?
I think it's a major part of my business. I mean, I just recently got named like the #1 realtor on social media in Louisiana. I was like, what?
Wow, congratulations.
Thank you. So, social media.
We got celebrities in there, y'all.
I mean, people reach out to me, and a lot of my business comes from social media now, because that's where everybody's on, especially like with you're stuck in your house with the COVID and everything. So a lot of my business comes from that, which I'm grateful for. And yeah, I mean, I have to. And I've gotten a lot better over time, but my nature is very, very, very reserved. But I've gotten better. You know, over time you break out of it, but you just gotta.
Did you have anyone like a social media manager? Did you
I have somebody that helps me.
Okay.
Yes, I have somebody, because it's gotten to the point where you have to have somebody that helps me. So
because it's at least 2 or 3 pieces of content a day.
I don't always have time to respond and everything, so she helps me out, and I'm so grateful for that, because I think.
Is that her profession? Does she do it for more than any other clients? Does she have she's building a client list herself?
She's built her page is Next Gen PR. I think I'm saying it right. Next Gen PR Group. That's it. Next Gen PR Group. Her name is Rashawn, and I'm always referring her out. But she has helped me. Initially, I was building it and spending a lot of time on it, and then we met, and she's kind of helped me tremendously. And I'm always telling the girl, I'm so grateful for you. But she does a phenomenal job.
And I think a lot of people with new entrepreneurs, they want to bootstrap it. They want to do everything they can to keep their costs down, but they don't realize that time is money. Mm-hmm. And if you're not 100% comfortable with it, so for me, my personal social media probably stinks, but when I was working for my previous company, I had content up every day. I'm reposting things from the local book fairs. I had a strong presence and a strong cult following. Mm-hmm. And I'm now seeing that people are overwhelmed by it, and they aren't doing the little things. Like, I had someone who's close to me, I said, like Facebook, I have like 1,400 friends. Because when I was in college, I was in a fraternity, so I had all kinds of friends. I had all day. So if you didn't even ask me to just kind of put your page up for other people to get some inspiration, want to tag in, get you some traffic. You didn't even do the little in your phone marketing that you could have. That you underestimate how many people that you know that have thousands and thousands of friends for whatever reason. Hopefully it's positive. It needs to be positive. Love and light to everyone. Mm-hmm. So I think people underestimate the power of outsourcing. Mm-hmm. I don't want you to put too many things out there, but for someone who's a celebrity, we're going to leave it at that, #1 real estate lady in all of the boot, Louisiana. How many different roles that you're playing do you outsource?
So that's something I really need to work on. So I've been outsourcing with social media probably about 9 months now, but before then I was handling it. I don't outsource as much as I should. I've recently started outsourcing paperwork, and that's like very little. I need to. That's being smart.
I think they got websites like Fiverr and that they have out there where you can really get people to do jobs for you at a very decent price, as well as there's phone answering systems. There's automated funnel builders that they have online. There's so many different pieces of, I guess, artificial intelligence that can make our job easier. And I think business owners, both new and experienced, are really missing that step that can really make them more effective. What if your business, let's say you had a cleaning or a mobile detailing business of sorts, and every time your phone rang, it went to your personal phone. But if you paid $30-$40 a month, you could have a professional answering service. And how much more professional would you be able to not only do business, but expect your service to be paid in return? You're not going to get a $20 job. Now you understand these are some of the, we're a big business. We're a real business. You're going to pay us $40-$50 for mobile detail and things like that. And I think I wanted to highlight that more because I wanted entrepreneurs to realize that this is not something you will do very well alone. It's something that your network can take you a lot of places, but you have to pay people for their time and their value. The money tree that people have bragged about and have searched for their whole lives isn't something that's actually in the ground. It's more mobile than people were willing to understand. Like, money is the value of whatever you're deciding to spend it on or receive. But it's an energy. And in that energy, you have to keep money flowing out in order for it to come in, without being someone who is irresponsible, without being someone who is, it's not my style, so I put it out there, unnecessarily flashy bottles and all that other foolishness. I don't know where you get a bottle at nowadays. I guess it's a 2-gallon daiquiri to go 2 weeks ago. But I just want people to really understand that even with this podcast, we're spending time with you so we can reach your audience. Right. We're spending time with you, so you want to use this footage for all those folks who were on the fence for utilizing your service. Hey, let me get to know this woman, this real estate celebrity of Louisiana. I just want people to realize that you don't have to, when they say bootstrap it, it doesn't mean you're sitting in a corner trying to create your own anything. It's about really spending as much time as you are focusing on building as it is networking and building a spider web of folks who can definitely help you get there.
And helping other people. I should shout out, because like you're talking to me and I'm like, oh, he sounds just like my business coach. So I do have a business coach, Dr. Sheikah Square. I think her page is Dr. Sheikah. And she's telling me that all the time. She's always telling me how money is energy.
It is, yeah.
And because I'm tight, and I'm always like, well, I don't want to pay somebody to do it. And she's like, it's energy, and you're actually helping somebody else. And that's something I have to work on, because I'm so used to holding and doing
because we always think of people we spend our money on as Entergy and Macy's and big old people. But in this day and age where everybody wants to support local business, more specifically a minority-owned local business, in order for you to get that love, you have to give it. And that's me learning those different things. I learned it the exact same way. Save it, put it in a mattress, just let it sit there. But it's not building value, it's losing value. And that's where we have to find different avenues for us to see our money grow, whether it be the stock market, small trades, day trades, whatever is your experience level. And also, real estate is consistently, I think I did the research for the last, I would say, decade. Real estate has been on the top 10 list for jobs or roles that are home to the most wealthiest people on this planet. Right. And it's also something you've done part-time, and it evolved into your full-time gig and such accolades that followed. Right. I don't want anybody to miss how much a second, third, fourth level of income is necessary.
Right. I mean, even for me, I do not want to depend on real estate myself. Because for one thing, real estate is a hustle, and although it's good and you can be very successful, I don't want to hustle like that forever.
Right. It's a grind; it'll wear on you. Yeah.
I want it to be more passive. So what that means, okay, I need to, maybe real estate is the key, but maybe I need to kind of figure out different ways in real estate that I can have passive income. Right. So I'm not totally dependent on one thing. So everybody, and we all have talents. We all have things we're good at. Got to figure out what that is and put that into some type of business.
Yeah.
Some kind of business. I mean, whether if you know how to braid hair.
Yep.
If you know how to bake.
Do shirts.
Whatever it is.
Custom make shoes. Custom made masks are very hot right now. There's, I think, a local celebrity, Super, was put out there not too long ago how much competition there is in the market, and you shouldn't let it discourage you.
Never.
Because and this is her words, not mine, even though I do have a daughter, we haven't done it very recently. When I go to one nail shop in this book, I go to the next one. If this Chick-fil-A got a line, I know what the other one is. Right. So there's 12 different versions of the same bread on the bread aisle, but people show up every week to pick up that same bread. Right. And every piece of bread goes missing by the end of the expiration date. So in order for us to get this bread, we have to understand that you can't be scared of the challenges that comes with other people being in a place that you want to be.
There's 6,000 real estate agents in the New Orleans area.
6,000.
Over 6,000.
Wow.
Think about that. So if you're focused on the competition, you would never ever make it. You have to be focused on yourself.
Yeah.
That's big that you say that.
Yeah.
Because your lane is your lane.
Correct.
Your success is for you. You can't pay attention to anybody else.
Yeah. I really definitely agree on that.
But we're in a world today where most people are always looking at someone else. Competition, they're always worrying about what the next person's doing and not focusing on them. The Lord only has you in mind, and He has the other person in mind. You don't have the same thing for both of y'all. So you have to keep that.
That's big, and that's big in a competitive world, because I mean, real estate is very competitive. And don't get me wrong, I admire a lot of people. Right. I admire them. I take notes from them. I learn from them, but I realize that this is my path. And whatever that is, if you do better than me, awesome. But that doesn't mean you're better than me. It just means that maybe I have a good friend in real estate that we bounce ideas off each other. And I was asking her one day, I'm like, I wonder how she can do all this, and because I don't know how she does all this. And she said, well, Melissa, you got to look at your circumstances. Does she have kids? You have kids. Does she do all these things you do? And it put things in perspective. Well, wait a minute, I'm comparing myself to somebody that's not even the same lane as me. Yeah. So it's no comparison.
Right.
So that's.
I think that's normal. I mean, that's normal. Nature. Like that's human nature, right?
Yeah. But you gotta check. Like you said, the meditation. Those thoughts that pop up in your head, you actually have to take them out. Right. So when you start having thoughts of being competitive, you got to say, no, I'm not gonna be that way. Right. I'm gonna be happy for her success, and I'm gonna keep it moving and focus on me.
I always been in that space. Me thinking about the businesses that I want to start. I always get into that. Wait till they get a load of me. You know, like what you're doing is cool, but wait till you see how I do it.
Right.
And I could go back and do the exact same thing as you, but you're not me.
Right.
And I know I'm blessed, and I don't know what your stat sheet said.
You're not me.
And speaking of blinders,
yep.
And like what I loved about you mentioning just focusing on your lane. I might be dating myself, but one of my favorite parts of that movie, Biker Boys, Lawrence Fishburne, have you seen it? Long time ago? Well, you remember, like, he had to be able to create tunnel vision towards his goal in order for him not to be influenced, because he was overestimating himself. He said, yeah, I got tunnel vision, I got it. And then adversity came and he had an accident. And then just that fast, he realized what it takes to be successful is only, and even Martin Luther King has said that, like, you only need to see as far out as your own 2 feet.
That's right.
And when